Islam from a scholar's point of view?
I was born and raised in Algeria, so I had most of my education over there. When I graduated from the high school, I went to the Islamic University, which is part of the University of Algiers, and I got my bachelor's in Islamic studies. After that, I worked for 10 years as imam and high school teacher, teaching Arabic language and Islamic studies. In 2001, when I came to the US, I did my master's of theology in Islamic studies at the GTF, which is Graduate Theological Foundation. It's a Catholic university in South Bend, Indiana. Islam is my faith, is my religion, it's my way of life. And I grew up in an Islamic environment. In Algeria, the population is 99.99% Muslims. So I grew up in that environment, hearing the call for the prayer 5 times a day, going to the mosque around the corner, the next block, going to the Quranic school since my childhood. And then later on at the university, I had the opportunity to learn Islam through very well-known Muslim religious scholars in Algeria and from the Middle East. So my understanding to Islam, I believe, it's based on the proper understanding to the teachings of the Quran and the teachings of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, which is moderation. Extremism is rejected by the teachings of Islam. To be open-minded when it comes to dealing with people from other faiths. My focus is to grow spiritually, to become closer and closer to God, and I believe that becoming closer to God makes the person soft, makes the person kind with people. So for me, religiosity means to become a more decent person, a person who looks at everything in this world with kindness and compassion. So this is Islam that I believe in, and this is Islam that I practice. Almost in every faith community, always there are people who fail to understand the teachings of their faith. They think that their faith is all about excluding everybody else. They think that they are the only people in this world who have the right to live, and everyone else has either to convert or they will be killed. This is crazy, and this is not what I believe in my faith. Islam doesn't teach this. Islam teaches peaceful coexistence with everyone else. Yes, there were, and still there are some individuals, scattered in the Muslim world here and there, who unfortunately carry these extreme thoughts and beliefs about Islam. Now, whether what they carry in their minds is truly Islam, the answer is no, because Islam is very clear. In order to understand Islam properly, we have to go through the credible, well-known Muslim religious scholars. Through them we understand Islam. If someone wanted to have his or her own interpretation to Islam, they will deviate, they will go astray, they will be wrong, and once they carry the wrong thoughts and the wrong beliefs and the wrong concepts, eventually they will act upon their misunderstanding, and this is what's going on. So these extremist people, these terrorist groups, they don't care about what scholars say about Islam. They don't care about the mainstream Muslim community in the world. They have their own way of understanding, of interpreting the text of Islam, and they think that they are right. They think that they are doing what God asked them to do, which is totally wrong. And by the way, this phenomenon of extremism doesn't exist only in the Muslim community. It exists in almost every single faith community. Islam in itself adjusted, with every climate, with every society. Islam in itself doesn't need reform, because we believe that Islam is the religion of God. God is the one who created the heavens and the earth, created humans and created the minds of humans. And Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said that this religion will be the religion that will exist in this world until the end of the time. So I don't believe that Islam needs reform. I believe that the minds of Muslims need reform. Our understanding to Islam needs reform. And the best way to understand Islam is through the credible, well-known Muslim scholars throughout the centuries. If you are talking about the Taliban style of governing, I don't believe that that was Islamic. I'm a Muslim, and what I have seen during the Taliban period, in Afghanistan, running behind after women and beating them with sticks and depriving them, preventing them from seeking education and going out to the marketplace or something like this. This is not Islam. This is not the way of life that existed during the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him. Women during the time of the Prophet, they had the right to go to the mosque anytime they wanted, to attend classes that were given by the Prophet, peace be upon him. The Prophet himself, he used to give special classes for women. And his wife Aisha was one of the scholars. Other companions of the Prophet, they used to ask her. They used to learn Islam from her. So what we see sometimes, in some places in the Muslim world is really backward. This is not what Islam is all about. And unfortunately, people, when they see these pictures and these videos, they think that this is what Islam is all about. No, it's not. I'm from Algeria, and we didn't have that problem in Algeria. There is no problem like this in Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, Syria, Iraq. It existed in very few places around the Muslim world, where extremists had the upper hand, and they started imposing their extreme view of Islam on innocent people. Especially when they destroyed the status of Buddha, they begged them not to do it. Why you are doing it, since the companions of the Prophet centuries ago were there, they passed by it, and it existed over there, and they didn't do anything. Are you better than the companions of the Prophet? Do you understand Islam better than them? Do you practice Islam better than them? No. So what they have done was totally wrong. But let me remind you something. Those same people, Taliban and Mujahideen of Afghanistan, right after the Soviet war, they were welcomed here in the US in the time of Reagan. And they were described as the forefathers of Afghanistan, as George Washington and Thomas Jefferson were our founding fathers of the United States. So let's keep this in mind. We believe as Muslims that everyone is free to choose the faith he wants, to choose the lifestyle he wants. In Islam, there is a verse in the Quran, لا إكراه في الدين. There is no compulsion in religion. We cannot force somebody to choose a specific lifestyle or to choose a specific faith. Why? Because choosing a faith should be based on the conviction. Conviction comes from the heart of the person. So we don't have control on people's hearts. Islam teaches us to exist peacefully with all people. And when we engage with them in interaction, in discussion, in dialogue, we have to engage with them in the best way possible. ادعو إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة وجادلهم بالتي هي أحسن. Share your faith with people, seeking gentle advice, wisdom. And when you argue with them in the best way possible. Islam tells us وَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا. Tell people the best words you can. Do not be aggressive. Do not threaten people. I'm just telling people that we disagree respectfully. Okay. I disagree with you, but I respect you. Disagreeing with somebody doesn't mean necessarily to hate him. And this is what people have a hard time to understand. I disagree with you in some points. I disagree with my wife, I disagree with my family members, I disagree with my community members. Doesn't mean that I hate them. We have Christians come and visiting us. We go visit churches. We have Christians come and speak here. I go speak at churches. I go speak at synagogues. We work together, feeding the homeless. We have a lot of work interfaith work we are doing. Islam doesn't teach this. Islam teaches peaceful coexistence with everyone else.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.